violence or no other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
First, though, I want to get immediately to this breaking news. Illinois State Senator Tom Cullerton has resigned from his seat, and the Chicago Tribune reports that he intends to plead guilty to federal embezzlement charges.
Wow. So this is Illinois. As you guys know, Chicago is in Illinois. So we've got top-down corruption, it appears, right? Embezzlement charges, you know, basically getting paid for doing nothing. You know, these fake funds, these fake programs that, you know, they get a lot of money for, but end up not really doing anything with the money or putting it to use in the purpose it should be, which is to solve this violence issue in Chicago. The Super Gremlins on Demon Time, that is, to be specific. No, he's just double dipping, you know, padding his stats, getting a little bit of bread on the top of his salary, you know, and it's crazy. What they didn't mention is that this guy, Tom Cullerton, is a Democrat, okay? So it looks like these Democrats are definitely out here double dipping. Whether it be the Glider Gremlin Senators or the Super Gremlin Senators or the Burrito Gremlin Senators. They're all in it together, you know, wiping each other's hands, and this just goes to show. I mean, all of them politically, honestly, are. But we tend to see these Democrats on the more fringe side of that. So anyways.
The Villa Park Democrat was indicted back in 2019 on allegations that he was getting paid for a job with the Teamsters Union, but did little or no work. He's the latest of several state lawmakers to leave office.
Little or no work. That's crazy.
Office during federal investigations. More information on that as we get. Charges in a deadly hit and run that killed a 70-year-old woman. That crash happened back in December of 2020 on Lower Wacker near Columbus. Christine Campbell was a 25-year employee of Northwestern Medicine. She was killed when investigators say Marcel Wyndham drove into her vehicle and then took off. Now he's charged with reckless homicide and leaving the scene of a deadly accident.
Memorial is mourning one of its own, a beloved patient care technician killed in a hit-and-run accident.
And WGN's Jenna Barnes talked to the victim's son, and she joins us now live outside the hospital tonight. Jenna?
Ray and Micah, he tells me his mom was preparing to retire next month. She was on her way home from work here at the hospital last night when that...
Dang. Just didn't make it. Just didn't make it. That's crazy. And, you know, it's sad that a woman who is 70 years old has to still go to work. Like, she doesn't have that retirement or provision going on. I mean, this is happening all over the place now. You got 65, 70-year-old retirement age women who still have to work. Man, it's a common occurrence.
That crash happened. Herman Campbell says it was habit to give his mom a hug before she left for her shift as a patient care technician at Northwestern Memorial Hospital.
I always do. I always do. But I was eating this time before she left for work, and I didn't hug her.
So my man's is still living with Ma Dukes, you know, looks pretty grown, still living with Ma Dukes, and you know, it's a terrible loss, but dang, you know, the community's jacked up in so many ways, bro.
He'll never get the chance again.
And then get a mile away. Accident happened.
Herman says late Wednesday night, Christine Campbell was on her way home from the hospital when the driver of this blue Buick crashed into her car at the intersection of Lower Wacker and Columbus Drives. Police say that driver ran from the scene. Paramedics rushed Christine back to Northwestern.
And I'm so glad they took her there, because if any hospital could have saved her, they would have. And I know that.
Northwestern Medicine sent us a statement saying Christine, known as Cece at work, just celebrated 25 years as an employee dedicated to providing compassionate care to every patient. Cece was loved by her second family, and we will miss her smile, big heart, and her loving stories about her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Herman has a message for the driver who left his mom to die.
Just turn yourself in.
And like I tell you guys, the super gremlin on Demon Time has no intention on turning himself in. The only way he will be caught is by doing another crime. Okay? Because the car that he had probably was stolen. So, to ask the super gremlin to turn himself in is maybe a formality. I still don't get it. You know, maybe it's wishful thinking, which makes sense. But a super gremlin on Demon Time would never turn himself in.
Because you can't run and you can't hide. Because the law got more time and more eyes than you do. And eventually, you will get caught.
He says they took an angel.
The greatest person I ever knew.
Anyone with information about who that hit-and-run driver may be is asked to call police.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Frederick Douglass, where a shooting just took place. And as you can see, it's a pretty rough area. So I'm basically risking my life reporting on this madness. So make sure you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. Like the video, hell, share the video. And make sure you go ahead and leave a comment down in the comments section to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this son violence in the streets. I'm Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
Well, Tanya, Mayor Lightfoot's plan has some support, but it also has quite a bit of opposition. Now, the city council meeting right now, and Mayor Lightfoot's plan to use civil lawsuits to seize illegal proceeds from Chicago's most violent street gangs is up for a vote. Lightfoot says this is another tool in the city's toolkit to push back against gangs that she says are leaving a trail of blood, death, and misery in their wake.
So you want to seize the assets of gangs. I mean, honestly, what are you going to seize that you already have not been seizing? It's not like they've just got bank accounts full of money. You know, might have cash under the sofa, under the mattress. Most of these gang members who are doing these crimes, though, are young. They don't have nothing. They don't have nothing. I mean, I don't get it. I do not get it. What are you going to take? Their bandanas? The illegal guns that they aren't even supposed to have anyway? The ghost guns? I mean, it's not like they've just got like $2 or $3 million in property or something that you can just freeze and you know, an eminent domain and take possession of their properties. They're not having it like that.
I spoke to Alderman Jason Irvin this morning, whose 28th ward includes parts of the West Side, which is troubled with gang violence. He supports the mayor's plan to target gang members and their organizations.
I think that is part of the overall law enforcement strategy. I think there must be a mechanism to go after the assets of individuals with ill-gotten gains. And so,
I mean, if you take their assets, all they're going to do is just commit more crimes. They're going to go back in the streets and try and get it back. The goal is, the ultimate goal is just keep them in prison. If they do something crazy, don't give them a bond. Don't give them supervised release on your own recognizance. Don't give them an ankle monitor. Just keep them in jail. It's that simple.
This is nothing different than what the federal government has, the state has.
However, this gang asset forfeiture ordinance, which passed out of committee last week, faces a lot of opposition today. There are objections from the ACLU, the Cook County Public Defender, and some council members from the Chicago Progressive Caucus. Some critics say the measure will cost the city more in money and employee hours than it could gain in return. Others believe it would hurt police-community relations, distract from other crime prevention strategies, and target innocent people.
And we've talked about people such as parents, grandparents, and other family members, innocent members of the community that could have their assets seized.
I'm of the opinion that it's not going to do anything to decrease crime. It's not going to deter the criminal activity that it's, supposedly written to deter. And in fact, it's going to cause harm in our communities.
I agree with her. It's not going to reduce crime. I mean, these dudes don't own anything anyway. They don't have anything in their names. They using a girl's car. They jacking cars. Like, it makes no sense. It really does. Like, this is just a formality bill, I feel like.
As well as costing the taxpayers.
Now, since there is some opposition to this ordinance, Alderman Irvin says he suspects that the vote today will be postponed for more discussion. So right now we are just standing by to see what happens.
For a full city council.
A lot of controversy. It's gotten resistance from council members since it was first introduced by the mayor. CBS 2's Mugo Digwe is live outside City Hall with why some aldermen are still not on board with this. And Mugo, this is a revised plan, right?
Yeah, so the big issue here is basically proof. That is the concern from many aldermen. They say that the mayor's office is still not showing them any specific examples that this plan will actually prevent or reduce crime in the city of Chicago. Instead, they're actually concerned that it could target the innocent families of gang members. And that concern is why Mayor Lori Lightfoot agreed to change the proposal to target street gangs and their adult leaders instead of just...
I mean, and that makes sense because some of these dudes, the guys who are pretty high ranking, they might have a bag and they might be paying for their mama's crib. And usually it's not in their names. But if the police can say in a warrant that, hey, this is his crib, this is where he be at, let's seize this property, it could put his whole family out on the street. So I get that. Target the individual, even though, a lot of the times the family members are complicit and heavily involved in these things. But, they end up not going after most family members. So I don't agree with the bill just because I think it's teethless. I think it doesn't do anything. The best thing that they could do is just get rid of the bail reform, get rid of these things that enable criminals to just do a crime, hop back out on the streets like nothing happened. Get rid of that for violent crimes specifically. Keep these guys locked up, and that's like 60% of the battle right there.
Any rank and file gang member. As for the plan, it is very similar to a 1993 state law that allows county prosecutors in Illinois to file civil lawsuits against gangs and gang members to seize their assets. Lightfoot's office says before assets can actually be seized, they would have to prove that a defendant has engaged in a pattern of criminal activity, and that includes at least 2 gang-related convictions.
Our goal is to have another tool at our disposal so that we can take action in the fight against these violent criminal gangs who are terrorizing residents in the city of Chicago.
So again, that plan goes before the full city council today, but this could be a very tight vote because not everyone is on board with it. We'll keep you updated. We're live in the loop. Mugo Digwe, CBS 2 News.
Gang violence and other kind of violence.
So it is what it is.